Welcome to Multifamily Insights. I'm your host, John Casman, and I want to thank you for joining us for another great episode. If you're enjoying this show, do me one quick favor, leave us that rating and review. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. We've got a great show today. We're going to be talking to Rama Krishna. Rama is the founder of USHA Investment Group, LLC. Rama Krishna is both an active and passive investor in multifamily apartment syndications. He's an equity partner in 750 plus units in Florida, Maryland, and North Carolina. Now, he's a GP in 64 units with more than 15 years of experience as an IT professional. Rama Krishna brings his experience in analyzing markets, underwriting deals, raising capital, and asset management. Let's welcome to the show, Rama Krishna.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you for the introduction. Good to connect again. So great pleasure to come to your podcast.
Absolutely. Listen, it's great for you to be on here, and you've had me on your show. We had a great conversation, so it's great to get you back and return the favor here. But I went over your bio at a very high level. Why don't you take a minute or two and give us a little bit more context on your background?
Sure, absolutely. So basically, I born and brought up in India and also studied in India, and also worked a couple of years in India and came to US around 2007. I worked in the IT field 15 plus years and also like started investing into real estate around 2007, 2014, 15 time. Started with investing in single families and townhomes, those kind of stuff. So on working full time and managing the single families was a bit challenging. So from economics of scale and from management point of view, so I explored a little bit more about multifamily commercial real estate. Then I thought, multifamily is the right, so everyone needs a roof. So, so it will be always, demand will be always there. So that is the reason I choose multifamily. So I explored, more into research, like, reading books or, doing a lot of research in bigger pockets, listening a lot of podcasts, like yours and, Michael Blank's or bigger pockets, those kind of stuff. So then I went to mastermind group and understand market cycles and how to find good markets or emerging markets and also learn a little bit more about capital raising, all this stuff. But no, I was underwriting a lot of deals and submitting to touring these properties, but I didn't initially I didn't have track record from multifamily space. So then I invested passively in a couple of days to build that, track record and also started, podcast also, to get that, track record. After, couple of deals, so continuously I did, I keep on writing deals and submitting, doing all these tours. Then, so then switched towards, active side and, we got one deal last year and we closed last year 64 units in Charlotte, MSC. So that's how I started my journey.
No, I love it. Listen, you talked about growing up in India, moving to the United States in 2007, being in the IT space, and you knew you wanted to get into real estate. So you started with single family homes, like so many other investors, before eventually learning more about multifamily. You spent a lot of time educating yourself on the multifamily space before investing passively first, and then ultimately moving over to the GP side. Let's kind of go back to the single family homes, right? Because there are investors out there right now who understand exactly what you're talking about. You want to invest in real estate. Real estate's a great vehicle to help you get financial freedom and all the things you want. But those single family houses, it sounds like they were management intensive for you and took up a lot of time. Talk to us a little bit more about some of the challenges you faced managing those single family units while having a full-time job.
So yeah, definitely, initially, like, I invested a couple of deals. So one in good location, other one is, some bad location. So if you purchase in bad locations, you'll find all kind of issues, finding right tenant or, managing, tenants, a lot of issues with the tenant. So that is the main challenge I faced mainly, from single family side. So, and if you invest in good location, so good markets, so you don't need to put a lot of effort and you will find good tenants and not many issues. And also property from appreciation point of view, also you will get great appreciation, and same like if you invest in bad location and, so you will face, you have to put a lot of hard work, you have to do all the renovations and also, finding good tenants, all this stuff. But, from appreciation point, you will not see much appreciation if you invest in bad location. So that is what I learned, so from investing in single family side. And also there is some kind of restrictions, from investing single families. Maximum you can invest, say 10 single families from, loans point of view. So, and also it's tough to find good properties in same location. So you have to scatter across multiple, location in same city or, multiple cities. So that is a challenge I face. And so that is the reason I switched towards in multifamily space. So if multifamily, like you can find, bigger properties in one location. So you can hire third party property management. They can manage these properties and you can do, managing asset management, those kind of stuff.
Yeah, really good insights right there. First of all, you talked about just the management of it, right? Having single families is going to be a little bit more management intensive. And if you are, you said some bad locations, some good locations, we might call them D class assets or A class or B class assets. But the point is, some of them are going to be a little harder to manage, right? Tenants have more going on in their lives. They don't make as much money. There's more wear and tear on their properties, a little more turnover at that asset. So you're going to have to be more involved there. And you mentioned just the demand that they don't go up in value as much. They don't appreciate as much. Well, it's the demand, right? It's how much work is needed. So if you're in a great location, a desirable location, well, because it's desirable, more people are going to be willing to pay more money for that location. But if you're in a less desirable location, well, it may cash flow a lot more, but less people want to actually own in that area. So it's not going to go up in value quite as much. So those are some things that you just have to keep in mind when you're looking at markets. Is it, yes, the cash flow is one thing you want to pay attention to, but also how desirable is it? And then the last point you made, which I thought was great, well, two more points. One, the loan, on a single families, a lot of the loans, they cap out at 10 different single family loans. But then the last piece there was just on the management style. Because of the location, it may be hard to find 5 or 6 houses in one neighborhood that you love. So you may have to spread out a little bit more all over the city. Versus with multifamily, you can find one property that has 6 units or more units, and you can bring on property management. So some of those things are key factors, particularly if you're a busy professional and you don't, have all day to run around and chase what's going on with these properties. So really appreciate you sharing a little bit more of that. Let's kind of transition, right? So you mentioned the education, and I love that you did everything. It sounds like, from reading books to podcasts, blogs, and then eventually getting into a mastermind. Just walk us through kind of your education journey and why you felt that was so important for you to get comfortable and get the knowledge you needed to take the next step.
So yeah, definitely, multifamily is, purchasing bigger properties need more capital and more expertise, right? So before that, I don't have multifamily, managing any bigger properties experience or raising capital or, I don't have a lot of background, with the capital. So in order to, manage or purchase these properties, you need to have some kind of knowledge or, and you have to surround with, right kind of people, So that is the reason I want to educate myself. So I went to, bigger pockets and read a lot of, posts and for identifying good books in multifamily space. Then once I identify good books, I went to those books like, how to identify good market cycles and how to identify emerging markets and how to find, right partners and right mentors. That's how I find, my mentors. So, and I also identify good books through, bigger pockets. I started listening podcasts and reach out a lot of operators and, for, from passive investing side, also active investing side. And also started a giant mastermind group and, understand how to identify markets, how to identify commercial brokers, how to identify commercial property management companies and, understand all the, how to identify, property management groups or, those kind of stuff. And, and also underwriting process also during that, mastermind groups, understand underwriting process and also understanding how to raise capital, those kind of stuff, Once I learned those stuff, started implementing those stuff, underwriting stuff and reviewing underwriting and reaching brokers, sharing feedback, touring these properties and building that, relationship with the brokers in order to win the deals. That's how it started.
I think there's some really good insights in the fact that one, you did a lot of information or found a lot of information to help you with all the aspects of investing in multifamily, from selecting the right market to getting the right partnerships to finding the right mentor, underwriting deals, all of those things. And the other thing you mentioned was, as you started that, you also turned to implementing those strategies. And it's just really important to understand that knowing isn't doing. So I'm very happy that everyone's listening to this podcast right now. But if you're only listening and you're not taking some of this and placing it into action and starting to figure out what are the challenges you face, how do you start underwriting deals, how do you start making offers, how do you start learning about different markets, then you're really not, taking advantage of the information, right? And you're doing a disservice to yourself. You got to take action. You have to convert the knowledge into action if you want to see results. And that's exactly what you did. Even with that, though, you mentioned that as you were reaching out to brokers, you weren't quite getting the traction. You didn't have the credibility in the space. So you kind of hit a bit of a bump in the road. Talk to us more about how you overcame that bump and when you really realized that, you know what, I'm going to have to step back and find another solution here.
Yeah, definitely initial level, winning that confidence from broker was challenging. I was underwriting deals and submitting, sharing feedback, and so brokers were very aggressive during that time, and they're expecting a bit high price. My conservative underwriting, so and sharing feedback, with less price is a bit challenging, right? So it's always it will impact negatively. Next time brokers will not respond to our calls or our emails. So in order to do that, I partner with other mastermind, colleagues, and learned, how to underwrite aggressive, little bit aggressively. We need to balance out, conservative plus aggressive. We need to balance it out. And at the end of the day, we need to see the overall returns, whether our underwriting assumptions supports current market conditions during that time. So these are factors I need to consider. And so once I start, keep touring this property and keep sharing these feedbacks, brokers also start, believing or trusting me. So like, this guy can close the deal. This guy got network. He can partner with the experienced partner. He can raise capital and he can, close the deals. So that's how, they start, inviting me into best and finals of multiple deals. Even though I didn't won a couple of deals in best and final, but eventually we won the best and finals. Build that, that confidence and trust.
Yeah, I think that's really important that it takes time to build that relationship with the brokers, right? And that relationship is built by the action. It's getting out there, touring properties, putting in offers, getting feedback, and showing up. And that's exactly what you did, time and time again. And then ultimately you were able to break through. I know you did some deals as an LP first, before transition to a GP side. Can you compare those two? How do you like being an LP versus being a GP?
So yeah, from LP side, main challenge is I identifying right sponsors and right deals, right? So which meets your criteria. So that is the main challenge. Since like I was attending these conferences and listening this podcast, I came to know like who are the good operators in this space, who are doing great in this space. So I understand that type of stuff. So and from LP side, only thing is you'll be investing capital. So and so mainly you'll be getting distribution, those kind of stuff. So mainly like you will get emails, communications from the sponsors, and you will check what they promise and what you're getting, those kind of stuff. From GP side, you had to do all the day-to-day activities like finding deals and underwriting deals, and touring these properties and participating in all the due diligence, finding partners, and raising capital, also involving asset management activities, understanding what's going well, why it's not going well, and asking good questions, during asset management side, participating weekly asset management calls, those kind of stuff. So and talking with these lenders also, from loan point of view. So what kind of loan options available for these deals, bridge versus, agency debts, talking with insurance brokers for, getting insurance quotes or, getting right kind of insurance for these properties.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the LP side, right? So you've invested in about 750 units or so in Florida, Maryland, and North Carolina. Walk me through that decision process. Once like you get the deal, it hits your inbox. Like, what are you looking for? What's your decision process to decide I'm going to invest in this deal or no, I'm not going to invest in this deal?
Yeah, so from LP side, main top most point is sponsor. Always sponsor comes first. Whether these I like this sponsor, I know this sponsor, or I can trust this sponsor. So that is main thing. So then about market, so whether this property is in good market, emerging market, or where population growth or job growth going good in this this market. That is second point. Third one is like about that property, so property and the overall returns, what kind of returns, so cash flow, cash and cash, and IRR, overall returns. Those are the things I would look.
Yeah, so replay that. You said first and foremost, the sponsor. What's the relationship with them? How much do you trust them? That's the first thing you're looking at. Second is going to be the market. What's going on in the market? Is it growing? Is it seeing the population move in the right direction? What kind of jobs are there? And then last, you're going to actually look at the deal, the return metrics, and see whether or not the deal makes sense for you based on those. Um, are there specific questions or any red flags that would give you pause when you're looking at these opportunities?
Mainly like skin in the game from the sponsor side. So that is one thing, how much they're contributing. And also asking referrals from different investors. When you when you join, when you're attending these conferences, you'll meet some passive investors, experienced passive investors also, right? Asking questions like who are the good operators in this space, and so what is their experience with these operators, so taking that feedback and uh, is very, very important. Yeah.
So you went from the LP side to the GP side.
Yeah.
What did you learn as an LP that helped you as a general partner?
So definitely, communication is very, very important, and also it's a team game. So you need to. So LP side you will not involve much, but GP side is a completely team game. So you have to identify right team members and attract right team who can do a job, who can close the deal. Also, that is main thing. And also communication is very, very important in multifamily or syndication side. Those are things important, from GP side. So
Yeah,
more responsibility you need to take, extreme ownership in GP side.
where's the 64 unit?
It's in Charlotte, MSA,
Charlotte,
Salisbury.
that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, like you've got the 64 unit in Charlotte. How do you manage kind of the communication and kind of the overall business plan, the implementation? Walk us through like some of the things you're doing there to lead that property.
So yeah, so we purchased last March. So we are doing internal management, and since it is a small property, so we're doing in-house property management, and we have like full-time uh, maintenance guy, and part-time leasing agent right now. So it has like a lot of management issues with the previous seller. So we evicted a lot of bad tenants from this space, and we are now we are into stabilization mode. So we did some kind of exterior renovations. We did like parking lot fixing and minor interior renovations. So without major renovations, we increase the rents, market rents, like we have 150 to $200. So it's going good, I can say at this point. So, and we're monthly or quarterly we're communicate with investors about progress about this property.
Yeah, and I want to play that because I think you said some really interesting things there. So you said because it's 64 units in the size,
Yeah.
you're actually managing this in-house. So you're
Yeah.
using a leasing agent and a maintenance tech, but you all are handling the property management of it and implementing that business plan. You've been able to push rents 150 to $200. You've redone some of the exteriors and things like that. But I want to go back to the management because I think that's really interesting. Are you kind of running that, or do you have partners who are local? Like, how are you actually running the property management side of it without one of your core team members? Maybe I should just ask that question. But how are you actually running the property management without that local property management firm in place?
So definitely one of my other partners, so he's experienced partner. So he got a asset management experience, and so with his experience and with his connections, he's bringing other property management part time kind of stuff. So he's coordinating with internal property management staff. So he's managing day to day activities, coordinating with property management company.
Got it. Got it. So he is coordinating kind of with different vendors and property management folks to make that
Yes.
happen. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. No, I appreciate that clarity. Yeah, man, I think that's really important because it's, the management is really, it can be intensive when you're doing a big value add, right? There's construction, you got to manage property management, leasing, all those different things. So
Yeah.
it is really important, especially if you're going from the LP side to the GP side. Is there, I guess, a lesson learned that you have over the last year that maybe you didn't expect, going from being a passive investor to being the active investor, despite all the research and education that you've done up to this point?
Yeah, definitely. One thing is like, market shifted, from last year to this year. So interest rates went up. So we went with, bridge loans. So now, because of high interest rates, we need to pay higher mortgage rates. That will impact, overall cash flow, those kind of stuff. So that is one thing, definitely we should have planned earlier, but we don't, there are a lot of stuff we don't control, right? So we should have, planned ahead.
And that's a difficult conversation with investors, right? I mean, interest rates go up. That's obviously going to impact the operations a little bit there. How did you manage and navigate that conversation with investors?
So we internally, GP side, we have conversation and we prepared, actual picture from the, what's going on from our property side and how exactly these higher interest rates impacting overall cash flow. So we prepared a document. We communicated with all the, investors. So,
Yeah, and I think to your point, that's communication is just key. I mean, things are always going to happen, but you always
yeah.
want to do what's best for the property, and then also make sure you're communicating with your investors so that they're apprised of what's going on. Everybody's up to speed there. So what's next? What are you working on right now? What's in the pipeline for this year here?
So yeah, definitely we keep looking for good deals. So the deal flow on market is a bit slow in the last couple of quarters. So we are looking for good deals, mainly North and South Carolina markets. So we keep looking for deals and off market and on market deals. Keep underwriting and touring these properties actively, aggressively looking for right deals, and also building this network and brand through my conferences and also attending a lot of conferences and networking with other experienced operators in this space to understand what's going on, what kind of trends going on in this space. I'm doing this stuff.
Yeah, and you got the Multifamily AP 360 event coming up very soon here, actually. So excited to see that event. We'll make sure we link to that in the show notes if anybody wants to check that out. And if people want to learn more about you or your investments, your website is USHAcapital.com. So be sure to check out Rama at that website. Rama, we're going to move on to our round of insights. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, give me a failure or an apparent failure that sets you up for later success.
Maybe initially in single family side, initially I didn't invest in a good location. So that experience bring me, thinking about investing in right locations. Definitely based on that, I started changing my strategy, investing in good emerging markets.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
Digital like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, definitely good for CRM point of view.
Give me a book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
I can recommend one book, Becoming Supernatural by Jody Dispenza is a good book.
All right. What's a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals?
Definitely, meditation. Doing meditation every day is definitely helping.
All right. All right. We talked about multifamily a lot. So give me your number one insight for multifamily investing.
Uh, investing in right location and hyper focus on that market is important.
All right, Rama, you are out there in Greensboro. Give me your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
Favorite place, maybe Starbucks.
Starbucks?
Yeah.
All right. That is, I don't think we've had Starbucks before. Maybe I got to check the records, but okay. Starbucks, favorite place to eat is Starbucks. Got it. All right. Well, I'm sure you do a lot of meetings at Starbucks, I'm guessing, huh?
Not doing a lot of meetings, but so if I go outside, I will take most of the time I prepare coffee at home only. But if it's outside, Starbucks is or
There you
Dunkin'.
go. All right. Sounds good. Well, Brahma, listen, great talking to you. You gave us some good information about just your transition, right? Coming from India, getting in the IT field, making that transition to a single family investor, and then realizing that, you know what, there's some challenges here, really hard to scale. I'm a busy professional. I need to find another way to do this. You turn to multifamily and focused on education. And I think that's really the key is you really took a lot of time to focus on your education and learn what it is that you needed to do, got into a mastermind group. And then ultimately, as you started your journey to get into multifamily, you realize that you need to build up that credibility, start investing passively before finally moving over to the general partner side. I think there's great insights for people to understand that, it does take time. You do have to educate yourself, but you also have to make sure you're doing everything possible to build up your credibility if you want to take action. So really great insight for anyone who is looking to make that transition for themselves. Again, if you want to check out either his event or some of the things that you're working on in your portfolio, they can check you out at USHAcapital.com. Rama, I just want to thank you again for coming on Multifamily Insights. We look forward to staying in touch with you and hope you have a great day.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, John. Thank you for